On this episode of Scammer Stories.
That's when he started manipulating me, controlling my emotions, hid my mind.
Love scams don't always involve romance.
He just wore me down. He wore my heart down.
But it does involve the heart.
OD'd on some couple pills I have and some alcohol. And
Janet is a married nurse who had to come clean after sending a scumbag money to help his supposed children.
I was going to show up and I was literally going to kill him.
On the last episode, I told you my mother's story, how a scammer took $200,000 of her money and placed a wedge between many of my family members. On this week's episode, so many twists and turns involving a possible porn star, a man with needy children, and many others. Multiple scammers working on the same victim. Tell me when your nightmare began.
January 2018. My Instagram was not private. I was ignorant, didn't realize I needed to be so concerned with that. I had a total knee in October, and I was feeling quite blue, to say the least, in January. He was healing slowly, and one night this gentleman said hello to me. And normally I don't say hello, but I just said hello back. This gentleman supposedly was a single father and engineer working in Turkey with two adorable children, Josh and Bella. And from the information I know now, he started grooming me, so to speak. Just like, kind of chatting with me, just to be friends. And I made it quite clear I was married and I was not interested in anything but than just being a friend, being a support to this individual who was in a foreign country, finishing up a job, raising the two kids, just, chat for a couple weeks. Right away, he wanted to switch to Messenger. Now I know that's a red flag. I didn't know that then. I was like, yeah, sure, whatever, okay. So then every evening, this individual would say hi and just chat. And whenever he'd try to get, hey, baby, I'm like, nope, I'm not doing that. I'm married. I'm just here as a friend. He moved in pretty fast. Within probably 3 to 4 weeks, he said, oh, I have this problem. Oh, my bank account at HSBC in Toronto is frozen. Could I deposit $35,000 into your bank and you send it to me? I don't know about this. Oh, please, please, please. So I thought about it for a few days, and then I asked my husband. He said, absolutely not. In no way. You don't know what would the IRS say, and hell no. And so then I came back to this individual. He went by the name of Randy Kelly. And I said, no, my husband says that's not safe and I shouldn't do that. By then, we had exchanged emails, so this might have been an email. He said, F you and go to hell. And so that should have been the end of it. So I sent my husband an email and saying, well, he just said this and this, so I guess that's the end of that, right? And that's when I should have ended it. But I kept looking at those pictures of those little kids, and they're so cute, and they don't have a mommy. And he said hello again on Messenger, and I said hello again. And that's when he started manipulating me, controlling my emotions, hid my mind. He knew that I'm 64, happily married. I'm a nurse. I'm educated. I have 3 grown children and a grandson. And so he knew exactly what buttons to push, all about the kids. And that's when he started, on the money. First, it was cute little Josh. And the kids are just adorable. Whoever these people are, they are adorable people. Cute little Josh. Oh, he's in the hospital, and there's something wrong with him, and he has a heart condition. Sends me a picture of cute little Josh. on a ER gurney. It does look like it's probably in a foreign country. He doesn't look sick at all. And I'm like, he's probably got the flu, right? And I was starting to notice the misspelled words and the poor grammar for an engineer from Canada. But I wasn't questioning that yet. And I told them we were going on to Barbados in February. How can you think of yourself? How can you be so selfish and expend money on this expensive trip when my son's in the hospital, he's dying? And I'm like, well, if he has the flu, it's a virus. Oh, that means you're going to come over here and treat him? Like, no, I didn't say that. He just wore me down. He wore my heart down. Okay, well, can you send me $500 for Josh's to get out of, his hospital? And quite honestly, that whole next 4 weeks, and then 2 weeks in Barbados, and then the following 6 weeks are merely a blur. Finally giving in, going to Western Union, being turned down because Turkey is a watch country. So then I go to another Western Union. I'm just feeling just anxiety and sweat, but I got to help this man is coming home to live in Spokane, Washington, which happens to be 30 miles from me. Just so happens. It's to start a new life and to get a job and with the 2 kids, and maybe I can help him out, babysitting or whatever, and get it started. But it's not going to be any kind of a relationship because I said I don't do that. I really, unfortunately, was very ignorant about the dark world of scammers because I don't live there. I know nothing about it. Now I know everything about it. And he was textbook's case now, a year later. Now I know it was textbook. And meanwhile, there was another man that started talking to me. His name is Dr. Pinto, and there is a real Dr. Fernandez Gomez Pinto in Brazil. He's a world-famous neurosurgeon, and his face is used all of the time, but I didn't know that. So now this Dr. Pinto, he's also talking to me also, and he's just this kind surgeon, trauma surgeon in Syria. His wife died, and he's lonely, and he's 60, and I say to him, don't call me darling, none of that. Just, if you want to be a friend, I'll be a friend. It's funny because he would tell me to not believe Randy Kelly, and Randy would Kelly tell me, don't believe Dr. Pinto.
Wow.
Now I know that they're all the same person or a team of people working on me.
Okay, so the same group was using both those names.
I'm sure they were.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I'm positive. I'm absolutely positive. Now, looking back, yeah. So Dr. Pinto became my person I could trust and talk to about Randy Kelly. Oh, he's a scammer. Oh, you don't want to believe him. Oh, yeah, he's bad, and don't. But then at one point, Dr. Pinto said, well, could you loan me $300? Oh, probably not. And I said, no, can't do that. Oh, well, my son, he needs a new phone. Sorry. So as it got deeper and deeper with me, unfortunately, going between MoneyGram and Western Union till they finally shut me. They blocked me, my own safety.
Western Union did? They blocked you?
Yes. And so did MoneyGram.
That's encouraging, at least, right? Now, looking back.
Well, now, but then it was frustrating. It's like, oh, by now I'm into it some money, quite a large amount, and I need to get this guy home because he's going to pay me back. I need to get paid back. So I'm desperate to help this guy get home to Spokane so I can get paid back, Absolutely brainwashed me. No one could talk me out of it. Absolutely. And I hadn't told anybody I was doing this, so I'm just sweating it and telling God, just help me stop this. And it was horrible. Absolutely horrible.
And you weren't telling your husband at the time then?
Oh, no. Not yet.
That had to be hard, coming clean.
It was hard.
Oh, man.
It was, that was a nightmare. So by then I'm into, I'm talking like $20,000, a lot of money. He had showed me in the beginning this bank account, which now I realize is fake. They can make anything look real. of $385,000 in Toronto. But there had been a lot of red flags throughout that conversation as far as living in Spokane. Where are you going to live? Downtown. I'm like, what do you mean downtown? There aren't any apartments downtown. Oh, well, then he gives me this address. And I look it up, and it's this house in the Spokane Valley. This was your house? Oh, yeah. Really? So I called the realtors on that house, particular house, because it was for sale. And I said, did you ever rent, or was this ever owned by my name, Randy Kelly? I'm asking because I'm being scammed. They said, absolutely not. So even though there are red flags, I was totally manipulated. It's hard to explain how that can happen. Your mind is totally manipulated. You can't even think or see straight, except that you know in your heart that it's wrong. Got to be right about now a year ago. My birthday is March 23rd. So, well, right about maybe like a year ago last week, I finally cracked and called some friends over, close friends, and asked them what they thought. And they said, Jan, you're being scammed. This is all scam. No. It's between Dr. Pinto and this Randy guy. Oh, no. Oh, no. Yeah, you are. This is, you got to tell Ron. I'm like, oh. So call my husband at work. I say, you need to come home right now. And he thinks, oh, my gosh. You know, he can know my voice. And he comes in and I tell him, and it's not good. Fireworks go off and he leaves and go out walking. And, you know, it was just like the worst time of my life, probably ever. The worst birthday of my life ever. No, nothing from my kids except, Mom, you know, you're idiots, and how could you do this to Dad? And we already had tickets for Sound of Music, and we'll just sat there watching it like lumps of clay, you know. Prior 2 days to my birthday, which is coming up next week, my bank finally, they called me and said, Jan, we have to talk to you. And it was the bank manager and one of the other gals I know at the bank, and they had a whole stack of papers that were transactions that I had made, and they said, you are being scammed. And I think I finally started to somewhat believe it, and because my heart just sank, and I'm just like, no, you're being scammed. Oh God, no, you know. I couldn't send any money. There's no way I could, because he kept at me, and I couldn't send any more money. There was nothing really to talk about anymore because he wasn't getting any more money, and pretty much had a nervous breakdown over it. I actually went to the hospital, OD'd on some couple pills I have and some alcohol, and just to be safe, I texted my kids just in case, although I was just trying to go to sleep and get away from it. I was mad at my husband, mad at myself, the world. I wasn't trying to commit suicide anyway. But I was taken to the hospital and pumped full of IV all night with a babysitter in the room sitting watching me all night, and not being aware of much. In the morning, seen by the hospitalist, and then seen by 2 mental health care professionalists. And they determined that I was not suicidal, and they let me go home, which is, the whole thing is humiliating. But
I'm sorry, Janet. That's awful.
I snapped. You know what? I'm lucky. I have read stories of so many women that have actually taken their own lives after this has happened. Because besides being in love with this person, which I wasn't, they have like mortgaged their homes and they have nothing. It's pathetic. And the scammers, they don't give a crap about you. They don't care. So I was in some little bit of, I saw this one therapist who was entirely worthless. And I did. And I was at 64. I got a job. I'm a retired nurse, and I didn't have my license, but I did get a job online. Well, it was online in a phone call at my local Macy's here in town. So I went to work there just a little bit, just to kind of make my kids happy, to prove that I was sorry and was trying to, recover some of it. And this Randy Kelly had blocked me on Messenger. Dr. Pinto was gone. He lied also. And there was an occasional email because I was frantically emailing this Randy Kelly. Are you still there? Are you going to pay me back? And once in a while I'd hear something, but pretty much no, And then in May, I said, are you really coming to Spokane? Oh, and meanwhile, often this Randy Kelly would be really mean to me, say really mean, horrible things, like he was bipolar. Like he'd be super sweet or he'd be so mean. And the story was supposedly they got out of Turkey. Well, and then they had to pay fines because they overstayed their visa. And then when they got to the UK, he was put into prison, he and his children. This is how the whole story all went. Now that I've read all the other stories, this is the stories they make up that sound true. And I even wrote to supposedly the prison he was in. He did finally give me the name. And probably 2 months later, I got an email saying that person was never there. Well, of course he wasn't. It was all made up. I went to our annual church convention, and I thought that, then I got sick. I never get sick. I got bronchitis in May. It lasted for 3 months because of stress. I never get sick. I broke out in eczema and rash all over my body because of the stress I was under. And so anyway, June I went to my church convention, and I just resolved that just accept it was over. And I had counseling with some of my ministers just to move on and forget it. I came home from those 4 days, and I'm like, okay, I'm good. I'm done. Well, I happened to be scrolling, unfortunately, through Instagram, and he had unblocked his page to me, this Randy Kelly. And so I went through his friends, and I asked about 12 to 15 of them, do you know Randy Kelly, and do you know where he is? And lo and behold, 2 days later, this woman answers, yes, I know where he is. I can help you. She was a porn star in L.A. And it sounds like some made-up story, but
It really does.
Unfortunately, it's yes, but no, right?
Right.
So then I'm talking to this Natalia 007, what's her name? Porn star in L.A. Oh, yeah, he comes into my club all the time, and I can locate him for you. I set up this sting. I said, okay, why don't you fly up here to Spokane, Washington? She said, I can give him a free, F. And I said, good. Why don't you have him fly up here to Northern Quest, a casino in Spokane, Washington. I was going to show up, and I was already going to kill him. I was just going to walk up to him and whatever I had to do in my mind. I was that angry. So then she says, oh, I've located him. She texts him, and he texts her back, and then she screenshots the conversation. And now I know that she was in on it, as well as the other person she was talking to. So then she gives me this guy's cell phone number in North Carolina. I think I'm pretty smart, right? I'm going to play with this guy. I'm going to give him back. So I start sending these weird texts and saying weird stuff, and finally, I don't want him to block me. So before he's like, who is this, and go F off. And finally I sent my picture. Remember me? Now he says he's Randy Kelly, and he's the engineer, but he's going to work on a big job in Canada. Where are the kids? Oh, they're in Southern California by themselves. Oh, no, they're in an apartment with a nanny. Oh, really? Okay. So he starts working me. Finally, he actually calls. Says, I'm going to call one night. Okay, I want to hear a voice. And I'd gone to bed, and there was this voicemail message, and couldn't even understand the guy. And turns out the next day he calls again, and he says he's Turkish. And I said, oh, really? But you know what? His phone was broken. He couldn't send me a picture because their phones are always broken. So he's given me this big line of he's working in Canada, make enough money to fly to California, to then fly to Spokane, and he keeps me going pretty much all summer with sending me all kinds of hearts and flowers, and he can't send a picture.
Okay, so I'm just trying to follow. So this isn't Randy Kelly you're talking to then?
I thought it was, but no, it wasn't. Yeah. So he wasn't getting anything from me, but he was working at it. He was working hard, but he wasn't getting anything from me. So then all of a sudden, at the end of the summer, on Messenger, here pops up the first Randy Kelly. I'm like, wait a minute, what? I'm talking to another man named Randy Kelly. Oh, well, he's fake. He's fake. Don't you remember me? And there's some pictures I had sent him from a year ago. Okay, yeah, okay, you're the real guy. Well, why do you think I would come back if not to pay you back? And so then the other guy, I say, finally reveals himself. He finally shows me a picture, and it's this fat Turkish dude with another name. Now there's five of them, 5 different people, all working on me, all the same group, of Nigerians. So now I'm back with the original Randy Kelly, the original one with the 2 kids and a dog, and yes, he's still in the UK. And so he tried a couple more scams on me. He had this check written out from his bank, British $55,000, which is like 55 pounds or 75,000 American dollars. Well, those fake checks you get from whoever,
yeah,
clearinghouse or whatever. It was one of those. I'm like, that's not real. Are you kidding me? Then I emailed the bank supposedly, and I'm like, that is not real. And the bank sends back this FU, like, oh, right. Yeah, I'm sure you're a real bank. I'm sure you're really a bank, and you're going to answer me like that. Plus, you're coming in my spam folder. Give me a But no, he keeps trying, and the only reason I'm still talking to him is if there's a 1% chance that he's actually going to come through. So, okay, well, then you're always ruining my life. You're always stopping me from coming home. Why are you so mean? That check was real. And it was not. Come on. Just stop, And by then I'm seeing a different counselor. I saw him 2 or 3 times who told me this is clearly a scam. The Nigerians, they sit in a whole room of these kids, really, tend to be between 15 and 25 years old, and they're all working on computers, and there's a group of them working on maybe one person or whatever. I hadn't blocked him yet, and just like, well, let's just play this out. Nothing's coming from me anymore. Let's just play this out. So the final thing he tries, and I'm telling my husband this by now. Unfortunately, I just felt like, well, I have to let you know this is going on, but nothing's going to happen from me. The final thing was, I want to send you $8,000 because, oh, this is so exciting. I got this contract in New York City, a job, and I need to buy some supplies. I'm like, my son is an engineer, and he doesn't buy the supplies. The company does. Well, yeah, but this is different. So can you open a new bank account? I'm like, nope. Can I have your bank account numbers? No. Well, can I put money on one of your credit cards? I'm like, well, maybe. So I did give him one credit card, all the numbers on it. And, of course, I told my husband, and he freaked out, and then we disabled that credit card. But sure enough, 2 days later, there was $8,000 in my Alaska credit card. And so now he wants me to keep 1,000 and send him 7,000. And honestly, we had no idea what was going on with this. So we went right over to our bank, and she said, no, this is a scam. Here's the deal. They will supposedly deposit $8,000 in your credit card, and then they ask you to send them 7,000. And then when the check clears, it's fraudulent. I said, okay. Now, and whenever anything money involved, this person, they just get so anxious and like bothering you every 2 seconds. You send it. And I'm like, no, we went to our bank, and she said, wait till the check clears. But then they get all angry and, did you send it? And I said, no. I said, actually, you know what? If the money's good, we're just going to keep it anyway because you owe it to us. And now he's, furious at me. All the love words are gone. And I'm going to take you down and your husband, and I'm going to make you wish you never were alive, and, all this. But finally, when he contacted me in October, he wanted to go talk on Hangouts. I said, I don't have Hangouts. Well, put it on. Hangouts is where you can talk through Google. You can talk to anybody. You can message or talk. And I said, no, I need to hear your voice finally. Well, I don't know. I said, you can also FaceTime. But, of course, his camera is broke, so he can't FaceTime, of course. So finally I hear the voice. And this voice is no 48-year-old man. I'm telling you, it's probably I said, you sound like you're about 22 years old. And now that I've listened to, like, the Nigerians talk, it was that kind of an accent. And always misspelled words and terrible grammar and all that kind of stuff. So this person's calling me and demanding, where's the money? And I'm like, no, I told you when the check clears, I'll decide. And so he has someone supposedly from his company call me with a foreign voice to threaten me to send that money or we're going to come after you. Like, yeah, okay, send the FBI. I'd like to talk to him. And lo and behold, the check was fraud. I kind of kept checking the account, and maybe a week later, sure enough, the money wasn't there anymore. So that was the last time I ever messaged that person on Hangouts. I said, well, the check was fraudulent. At that point, I still thought it was that person, that nice-looking person. Why would you do this to me? And so I actually called him on Hangouts, and I could hear him listening. He wouldn't say a word. Like I just said, why? Why would you do that to me? And hung up, and then he blocked me. And at that point, I knew. Then I knew 100% that it was a scam, but I didn't know at that point that it wasn't this actual person.
It's a sad state of affairs when you and I message each other and we're trying to figure out if the other person is real.
I know. That's how it was for a long time. And the counselor that I did see, he was a little bit helpful, but who was the most helpful was William on Scamming Scammers Action. That man is a lifesaver. I somehow found that group on Facebook, and I had a picture left, so I sent this picture because you can do a reverse Google image search, and I did that, and I couldn't find this guy anywhere. And I didn't have any other information as far as looking for him. I had a fake driver's license, a fake passport. William got back to me and said, this is a stolen profile. Because I felt so bad because in my heart I could not forgive this man and his children. I could not forgive him, and I wished him dead. And as a Christian, I can't live like that. And I seriously, if we travel a lot, and if either of us had seen this man in the airport, we would have literally attacked him and probably killed him. Now I know that he's an innocent victim just as well as I am. The picture.
Oh, yeah.
And I said to William, I said, yeah, but he had babies when they were babies until they're now 9 and 10. All that he said, that's what they do. They'll go to someone's Facebook and they will steal hundreds and hundreds of pictures so that they can create this entire whole new person and be that person. That's what they do. And he said, this man, whoever he is, he may not even know that he's being used. I did hear from at least 2 other women that contacted me through Messenger that they had also been scammed. One $12,000, one $3,000. Same story, engineer, kid sick. So I began watching Williams, really, his YouTube channels and educating myself on how this all works. I've watched a lot of Dr. Phil. I love Dr. Phil anyway. A lot of Dr. Phil episodes about the same thing. I just researched so that I can heal and move on, knowing that, yes, I was scammed, but yes, I'm not stupid. I'm not dumb. I'm not I'm a woman that has a good heart. There are tons of us. There are hundreds. There are thousands of us this has happened to. And there are still women out there that still don't believe it. They are starting to catch some of the scammers, some of their articles about they're pretty much in Nigeria. However, I did get a phone call from Turkey earlier on in January. I couldn't understand anything they said, but he said likely it was some Nigerians who were in Turkey for a while. But it's basically coming out of Nigeria, Ghana, for African countries. And they are kids, 15 to 25, who just learn how to groom people, say the right words, look at your profile, figure you out.
So have you been able to patch things up with your kids and your husband?
Yes. Thank God. They have all forgiven me, and it's nothing we don't talk about anymore, nothing to say. They've all forgiven me, and we've moved on. It's money. It was not a life. It was some money, not lots and lots, but some. We can still retire. And I don't think about that much anymore. I thought it would take years and years and years. It will never happen again, for sure. And I'm glad that I'm blocked from money wiring systems. My family, we've never used it. I didn't know how to even use it, but I'm glad I'm blocked.
So is there anything that someone could have said to you at the time that would have made you believe it was a scam?
No. They all tried. Everyone, all my friends, everyone. In my heart, I still thought it was this man with the 2 children, and if they were actually going to come here. He had me that warped in my mind.
Fortunately, Janet is able to move on, and I'm so very grateful that she was able to share her story with us. I'm learning that elderly people may be the biggest target, but younger women and men aren't safe. In the next couple of weeks, we'll hear from a 40-year-old mother with 3 disabled children who is targeted. Until then, please leave a 5-star review so we can reach more people. Until next time, my scammer warriors.